Hi, this is Cheating Wife. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this story. Your support motivates me to share even more real stories from our life. And don't forget to leave a comment. I'll be really happy to read your thoughts.
I never thought I would end up being part of a story like this. Even now, as I sit down to write it out, I can't help but wonder how the hell I got here. Because the truth is, just a week before his engagement, he told me he loved me. And I believed him. That was my mistake. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What I want to do is start from the end to let you know that eventually I found out the truth. He got engaged. He got married. And I was left holding on to memories that suddenly felt poisoned by lies. Lies about his graduation, lies about his residency, lies about us. I was blindsided by the timeline, and it made me question everything I thought I knew. That's the part that hurts the most, realizing that all the words he whispered to me, all the things he did, weren't what I thought they were. But let's rewind. Because before the heartbreak, before the confusion, there was just us. Or, at least, what I thought was us. It started in January. We'll call him Adam. I was 34, he was 35, finishing up med school. We met through mutual friends, and from the very beginning, there was an ease to him that drew me in. He wasn't looking for anything serious, and neither was I, at least not at first. So we settled into what we both called a casual thing. Just fun, he said once over dinner, swirling the glass of wine in his hand. No pressure, no expectations. I nodded, smiling because it sounded simple. And honestly, at that point in my life, simple was exactly what I thought I needed. Our arrangement was easy. We'd see each other a couple times a week, sometimes more. We'd text late at night, send each other memes, talk about work, school, family drama. But most of all, we'd spend hours together in his apartment, talking, laughing, and inevitably ending up in bed. And it was good, really good. Over the months, though, I started to notice something shifting. He'd linger a little longer after sex, holding me instead of rolling over. He'd ask me about my day in more detail. He'd kiss me before leaving for class, sometimes pressing his lips to my forehead like we were something more. I told myself not to overthink it. But the truth is, I already was. By April, our casual arrangement didn't feel so casual anymore. I remember one night in particular. We were lying in bed, his arm draped over me, the glow from his laptop illuminating the room. I could hear his heartbeat against my back. And out of nowhere, he whispered, "I think I love you." I froze. My heart did this strange flip, because I had been falling for him quietly for weeks, maybe months, but I never thought he'd admit to feeling the same. "Do you mean that?" I asked, my voice almost a whisper. "Yeah," he said. "But we're in different phases. I can't give you what you deserve. I'm graduating soon, moving for residency. It's not going to work out. But I need you to know I feel it." I didn't know what to say. Part of me was thrilled. Part of me was crushed. Because how could he tell me he loved me and, in the same breath, say we couldn't be together? I cried silently that night, my face pressed into his chest so he wouldn't see. Fast forward to May. Graduation was coming up, and so was the end of our time together. He told me he wouldn't be attending the ceremony. "It doesn't matter," he said. "I just want to focus on moving, getting settled before residency." I believed him. I really did. On our last night together, we made love like it meant something. Like maybe in another world, we could have been more. When morning came, he told me goodbye, kissed me one last time, and said, "Take care of yourself, okay?" And that was it. Or so I thought. The following weekend, I was scrolling TikTok when a video popped up on my For You page. It was the med school graduation ceremony. And there, center stage, was Adam, in his cap and gown, smiling as if he hadn't lied to me days before. At first, I laughed. I thought maybe it was a mistake, that maybe he had shown up last minute. But curiosity got the better of me, so I went to the school's site and watched the full ceremony. And that's when I saw her. A woman walked him across the stage to put on his hood. I wanted to tell myself it was a relative, maybe a sister or a niece. But the way she looked at him, the way he smiled back, I knew. It wasn't a family member. It was her. My stomach dropped.
Who was she?
Why hadn't he ever mentioned her? And why did he lie to me about skipping graduation? I didn't confront him then. We weren't together anymore, and technically, he didn't owe me an explanation. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more he wasn't telling me. Then, in June, he reached out. A text, casual. "Hey, how have you been?" I stared at the message for a long time before replying. We talked, caught up. But I didn't bring up the girl from graduation. I didn't ask why he lied about residency. I just didn't. Maybe I was scared of the answer. Maybe part of me wanted to hold on to whatever scraps of connection we had left. Then came July. Silence. No texts, no calls. It was the longest we had ever gone without talking. One night, curiosity got the best of me. I searched his name online, and that's when I saw it. A wedding registry. The date? A month away. My chest tightened. I clicked through the registry, reading items like kitchenware, bedding, furniture. It was all there, neatly laid out like a roadmap to a life he was building with someone else. I felt sick. Had he been engaged the whole time? Had everything between us been a lie? I took a couple of days before reaching out. When I finally texted him, I didn't dance around it. "I saw your wedding registry. Were you engaged this whole time?" He replied almost immediately. "Yeah, I met a nice Middle Eastern girl. We clicked, our values align, and as is custom in our culture, we got engaged. I told my fiancé about you. You were fun, but I'm in a committed relationship now. You need to respect that and move on." My hands were shaking as I read his words. Fun. That's all I was to him. Fun. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask him how he could look me in the eyes, tell me he loved me, sleep with me a week before his engagement, and then dismiss me as if I was nothing. But instead, I just typed, "Did you ever actually care about me?" His response was short. Of course I cared, but it was never going to be more. That night, I got a text from another number. Who is this? My stomach twisted. It had to be her, his fiancée. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Should I tell her everything? Should I let her know that her soon-to-be husband had been sleeping with me up until a week before his proposal? Or should I stay quiet, walk away, and let her live in blissful ignorance? I didn't know. All I knew was that I felt used, lied to, discarded. And worst of all, I couldn't stop replaying that last night in my head. The way he held me, the way he whispered he loved me, the way I thought it meant something. I couldn't sleep for days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him walking across that stage with her. I saw him smiling like he hadn't just left me behind. I saw him building a life that I was never going to be part of. And I kept asking myself, was it all fake? Did he ever actually mean the things he said? Or was I just a distraction until he settled into the life his family and culture wanted for him? That's the part that broke me. Not losing him, but realizing I never really had him in the first place. I thought I could let it go. I thought I could just swallow the bitterness, move on, and pretend none of it mattered. But the truth is, I couldn't. Not after realizing the timeline, not after putting the pieces together. A week before he got engaged, he told me he loved me. 2 weeks before his proposal, we were still in bed together. And I hadn't known. I had no clue what he was planning behind the scenes. That night, when I got the text from the unknown number asking, "Who is this?" I just sat there staring at it. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I tried to calm my racing thoughts. What if it really was his fiancée? What if she already suspected something? 2 days passed before I could bring myself to respond. When I finally did, I didn't sugarcoat anything. I wrote back, "My name is Name. I think we need to talk. I've been seeing Adam for months, and I didn't know the truth about his engagement until recently. I feel like he's been lying to both of us." There was silence for hours. I thought maybe she wouldn't respond at all. But then my phone buzzed. "Can you explain what you mean?" My heart pounded as I typed out the words, my fingers trembling over the screen. I explained how Adam and I had been seeing each other casually since January. I explained how he told me he loved me just weeks before his engagement. I explained how I discovered his lies about graduation, residency, and ultimately her. When I hit send, I felt a strange mix of relief and fear. Relief that I wasn't keeping it all bottled inside anymore. Fear that I was about to blow up his entire life, and maybe hers too. Her reply came quickly. I'm his fiancée. We're old family friends. But we were never dating because my parents wouldn't allow it. He invited me to his graduation and proposed to me that weekend. That's when it became official. I read her words over and over, my stomach twisting tighter each time. That meant he was already planning to propose to her when he was with me. That meant that last night we spent together, the night he held me, the night he whispered he loved me, he knew he was about to propose to someone else. My heart sank. It was worse than I imagined. I told her everything. Every detail I could remember, even the ones I wasn't sure I should share. I told her about the night he said he loved me. I told her about the week before his engagement, when we had sex, and he asked me to send him more videos. I told her how he had claimed to delete the ones I'd given him before, but clearly he hadn't, because he still asked for more. At one point, I even said, ask him about the videos. Ask him if he really deleted them. I don't believe he did. And as soon as I sent it, I wondered if I had gone too far. Was I telling her because she deserved to know? Or was I telling her because I wanted to hurt him? Maybe it was both. She responded with short, clipped sentences. Okay. Thanks for telling me. I'll talk to him. And then nothing. Hours passed. Then a full day. And still nothing. I sat in my apartment, replaying everything in my head, wondering if she had confronted him, wondering if he had tried to twist the story, wondering if she believed me at all. A week later, I saw the photos. The wedding happened. She married him anyway. The smiling pictures were plastered across social media. Her in a white gown, him in a suit, their families beaming with pride. And I sat there staring at the images, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. He got away with it. That's all I could think. He lied, manipulated, played both of us, and still ended up with the happy ending he wanted. Meanwhile, I was left alone, holding the weight of a secret that nobody else seemed to care about. The days after the wedding were the hardest. I couldn't stop thinking about that last night with him, replaying every detail in my mind. The way he kissed me, the way he whispered, "I love you," the way he touched me like I was the only woman in the world. Except I wasn't. I was just the woman he used before sealing his future with someone else. I started journaling because I didn't know what else to do. I wrote down every conversation we had, every lie he told, every feeling I couldn't untangle. It was obsessive, maybe, but I felt like I needed to document it, like maybe if I saw it all laid out in front of me, it would make sense. But it didn't. It never did. Months passed. I tried to move on. I threw myself into work, into friendships, into hobbies. And for a while, it worked. Until the dreams started. Dreams of Adam. Dreams where we were still together, still laughing, still touching. Dreams so vivid that I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like I'd actually been with him again. It was torture. I'd wake up sweating, my heart pounding, and the emptiness beside me in bed felt like a cruel reminder. One night, after another dream left me shaken, I did something I shouldn't have. I reached out to him. It had been months since we spoke, but I couldn't help myself. I texted, "Hey, how are you?" To my surprise, he replied, "Doing well. Residency's tough, but good. How about you?" I stared at his message, my hands shaking. Part of me wanted to scream at him, to demand answers, to force him to acknowledge what he did. But another part of me just wanted closure. I just wanted to ask, why? We tried to set up a meeting, but our schedules never aligned. Excuse after excuse. Every time, something came up for him. Eventually, I realized he was never going to give me the closure I craved. But the dreams didn't stop. If anything, they got worse. About 7 months after our last time together, he reached out again. This time, his tone was different. He told me we couldn't see or talk to each other anymore, that his wife was pregnant, that he needed to focus on his family. He emphasized that the child was his, not mine, as if I had even considered that possibility. I didn't argue. I just asked him one last thing. Can we meet just once so I can close this chapter? He promised to try. But he never did. And now, years later, here I am. I've built a life of my own. I'm in a happy relationship. We're expecting our second child. On paper, my life looks perfect. But still, the dreams come. Still, I wake up in the middle of the night, haunted by a man who lied to me, used me, and discarded me. Still, I feel the weight of words he said that he never meant. And I can't shake the question, will I ever be free of him? Lately, I've been considering something drastic. Something I probably shouldn't. I've thought about telling his husband, about writing a letter, making a phone call, showing up at their door. Not to ruin his life, but to finally end this chapter of mine. To finally have the closure he refuses to give me. But is that fair? Would that be justice or just revenge? I don't know. All I know is that I'm tired of carrying this weight alone. When I told my partner about all of this, about the dreams, about the urge to reach out, she listened quietly. When I finished, she said softly, "You don't need him to give you closure. You need to give it to yourself." Maybe she's right. Maybe the real closure comes from letting go, not digging deeper. But part of me still aches for that final conversation, that last chance to look him in the eye and ask, "Did you ever love me at all?" After that conversation with my partner, I kept turning her words over in my mind. You don't need him to give you closure. You need to give it to yourself. It sounded so simple, so logical. But living it, actually letting go, felt impossible. I started to notice how much space Adam still occupied in my mind. Not just in dreams, but in random moments too. Walking through the hospital where I sometimes worked, I'd half expect to see him turning the corner. Every time I saw a man in scrubs, tall with dark hair, my heart would skip before I realized it wasn't him.
It was exhausting.
Like he was haunting me, even though he was alive, even though he'd chosen another life. One night, unable to sleep, I opened my phone and searched his name.
I don't know why.
Curiosity, maybe. Or maybe I wanted proof he was real, not just a ghost in my dreams. His social media was private, but his wife's wasn't. Her profile was full of pictures. Their wedding, their baby shower, the newborn swaddled in pastel blankets. There he was, smiling wide, holding their child like he'd never held me. Like he'd never whispered, "I love you," with the same mouth he now used to kiss his wife. I felt sick. I set my phone down, but I couldn't stop shaking. He looked happy. He looked like the perfect husband and father. And I was the ghost now, the secret buried under their perfect life. I didn't tell my partner I'd looked him up. I didn't tell anyone. But that night, when the dream came again, it was different. In the dream, Adam was sitting across from me in a dimly lit cafe. I asked him the question that had been gnawing at me for years. "Did you ever love me?" He looked at me, his face unreadable, and said, "No, you were just a distraction." I jolted awake, heart hammering, tears stinging my eyes. And for the first time, the dream didn't leave me yearning. It left me angry, angrier than I had ever been. The anger lit something inside me. I started to imagine what it would be like if the truth came out. If his wife knew everything, not just the pieces I told her back then, but all of it. The "I love yous," the videos, the nights he spent with me while planning a life with her. I imagined her looking at him with betrayal in her eyes. I imagined his perfect little world cracking. I imagined him finally feeling the shame he had forced me to carry alone. For a moment, the thought gave me satisfaction. But then I remembered her. The wife. The baby. The life that would be destroyed along with his. And I wondered, would telling her give me peace, or would it only pass the pain forward? Weeks passed. I wrestled with the thought, back and forth, every single day. Some days I told myself I was done, that I was free. Other days I drafted unsent letters in my phone, long paragraphs addressed to his wife, confessing everything. One night I even typed her number into my phone. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over call, my heart racing. But I couldn't do it. I locked my phone and lay awake until dawn, hating myself for still being trapped. It wasn't until a random afternoon at work that something inside me shifted. I was sitting in the break room, scrolling mindlessly, when my partner texted me a photo. It was our daughter, giggling as she smeared peanut butter all over her face. Her little eyes were shining, her cheeks puffed out in laughter. I laughed too, a real, unguarded laugh that filled my chest. And in that moment, I realized this was my life. Not Adam. Not the lies. Not the pain.
This.
My partner. My children. My family. Why was I wasting years of my life obsessing over a man who had thrown me away like I was nothing? Why was I still letting him haunt me when I had so much here, right in front of me? That night, I made a decision. No letters. No calls. No messages. I wasn't going to ruin someone else's life just to soothe an old wound in mine. I wasn't going to give Adam that power anymore. Instead, I sat down with my journal one last time. I wrote down everything. Every memory, every lie, every feeling. Pages and pages of it, until my hand cramped and the ink smudged. And then I tore it out. Every page. I ripped them up, piece by piece, until the floor was covered in scraps. And when I looked down at the mess, I felt lighter. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe I could breathe. The dreams didn't stop immediately, but when they came, they felt different. Less sharp, less real, like shadows fading at the edges. And slowly, over weeks, they came less and less, until one night, I realized I couldn't remember the last time Adam had appeared in my sleep. Years later, sometimes I still think about him. Not with longing, not even with anger, just with a kind of detached curiosity. Where is he now? Is he still married? Does he still tell lies with the same smooth confidence? But the thoughts don't linger anymore, because I know now that I'll never get the answers I once craved. And that's okay. I don't need them. The last time I ever saw him was by accident. I was at the hospital visiting a friend when I spotted him across the lobby. For a moment, my breath caught. He looked almost the same, though there were new lines on his face, tiredness in his eyes. He didn't see me. I stood there, frozen, watching him walk past with a folder tucked under his arm. And in that instant, I realized something that stunned me. I felt nothing.
No anger. No longing. No sadness.
Just nothing.
He was a stranger now.
And finally, I was free. So if you're reading this and you've ever been haunted by someone who lied to you, used you, discarded you, I want you to know this. Closure doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from apologies or explanations or revenge. It comes from you. From deciding that they no longer get to live rent-free in your mind. From building a life so full that their shadow has no room to linger. I know because I lived it. And though it took me years, I can finally say the words I never thought I could. I let him go.